Well, I mean, a lot of people have been expressing surprise at what happened in Parliament and what is happening in Parliament. I am not surprised at all. What is clear is that some of the members of our Parliament have decided to expose Parliament in a bourgeois society for what it is. You know, before, the true nature of Parliament is hidden in the exchange of pleasantries and so on. In reality, this is a bourgeois democratic society, and its Parliament has all its features. Now, Honorable Ricketts raises a point about how some people got into Parliament, how they became members of Parliament in the first place. And that's an important issue. You see, CDD, all kinds of research organizations have established that in Ghana, to become a member of Parliament, you need so much. And last time, we were told that you need about $5 million to become a member of Parliament. That excludes the vast majority of our people. It means that the vast majority of our people are excluded. Now, who are the people who are able to raise these huge amounts to contest elections and to become members of Parliament? There are people who obviously are pursuing the interest of the moneyed elite in our society. Clear. You understand? In all of the elections, we've had situations where people have been killed as part of the process of getting people into Parliament. Now, if you're part of a system which leads to murder, to killing of people and so on, in order to get people into Parliament, are you surprised that they are breaking tables? Breaking tables is nothing compared to killing people and so on. So I think it's important that we understand this, very, very clearly. Now, something surprises me, and it surprises me a great deal, that you have a Parliament of 276 members, and you have a caucus of 88 members, and they are allowed to hold the whole country and Parliament to ransom. What is happening? Something is not working. 276 member Parliament, and 88 of them do as they please, disrupt everything, hold all of us to ransom. Something is not working. Something is not in its place. You understand? That's my worry. Of course, even if the minority caucus was made up of just one person, that one person has rights and responsibilities. They have a right to freely express themselves. They have a right to contribute to debates and so on. But they don't decide. They don't make decisions for this country. I mean, how do you allow the micro minority to pose as if without them nothing can happen in Parliament? Something is wrong. And it's that thing which is wrong that we must examine. You understand? You see, I have been watching Parliament, and I remember one incident where a member of Parliament gave a hefty slap to his colleague. Really hefty slap across the face. You understand? I saw it. I remember seeing a member of parliament grab ballot papers and chewing the ballot papers like a rat. Listen, I saw it. I know that in parliament there have been serious allegations of impersonation. Those allegations were never proven, but they still hang over the head of parliament. Now, if you have a parliament in which it is alleged that members of parliament are impersonated, what kind of parliament can that be? And this matter should have been pursued to its logical conclusion. It was not. And it continues to hang over parliament. But what happened recently, I think is the worst of all the things that have happened in parliament. I'm sitting in my office and I'm watching television. And I see on television a member of parliament ordering his colleagues to obtain tables. The video is there for all to see. Obtain the tables. He himself carries his chair and places it on the table. Then his colleagues start carrying their chairs, placing it on the table, and so on. And then they start the process of destruction, destroying microphones and so on. And you know the worst part? The following day or so, the leader of this micro minority has the effrontery to hold a press conference and to tell all of us that the damage was minor. Yeah. So we should know it doesn't matter. You can destroy government property, you can break the legs of tables and so on. After all, it's minor damage. Minor damage? Should anything be destroyed? And you know, when I was watching television and seeing what was happening in parliament, you know what came to mind? It seemed to me that I was watching a bunch of primary school boarding school children protesting over too much pepper in their soup in the dining hall. It didn't look like Parliament House to me. It looked like some dining hall scene in a primary boarding school. Students protesting about insufficient sugar in their cocoa. Incredible. You understand? And they think that they should go. They are bluffing on top. They are boycotting sessions. They are holding press conferences. They are not even ashamed. And can you believe it? These guys are not ashamed. They don't care. They are wearing their suits and addressing the media and making foolish claims about minor damage and so on. I can't believe it. You know, and then, Master, I mean, last week, somehow, I don't know what happened, they probably met and decided that this reference to them as micro-minority is something which they shouldn't accept. So now, they are referring to themselves as mighty minority. A clear contradiction in terms. Mighty minority and so on. What is this joke? A vetting process is going on. The minority has the right to participate or not to participate. It doesn't stop the work of the committee for as long as there's a quorum. How should it stop the work of the committee? There's a committee of investigation, the minority says, we are not comfortable with it, we are walking out. How does that stop the work of the committee? The issue is whether or not there is a quorum. And if there's a quorum, business must go on. So what if government presents its budget and this tiny micro minority decides to boycott parliament? You mean the NDC with its over 180 members will wait for them? What is happening? I mean, the majority, does it understand its mission? The people of Ghana are not fools. The people of Ghana voted this way because they wanted business done in a certain manner. The people of Ghana voted emphatically for the NDC because they want change rapidly. They gave them the authority to do things. And if they cannot exercise that authority will be taken from them. Sure. If we go to an election and we give you more than 180 seats, and you cannot use that 180 seats, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. And the next election, we must take the 180 seats from you and give you 137 so that you go and bargain. You want to bargain. You are still caught up in this hang parliament, philosophy, hang parliament things and so on. Go ahead and do that, and we will give you a hang parliament. What is this? I can't believe it. I mean, some of the things that happen in parliament, Master, is beyond comprehension. Read the standing orders of parliament. I'm not the one to interpret it and so on. We go for an election. And you have a situation in which there's a hung parliament of some sort. You understand? But the opposition appears to have the edge. In order to have set that edge, the speaker actually rules that an independent member of parliament can act as a member of parliament of the New Patriotic Party. It doesn't make sense. Show me how that makes sense. When the same speaker getting to the end of the lifespan of that parliament rules that if you are independent and you declare for a political party, you ought to go home. Where is the consistency? What happened at the time simply was that we had a new situation in parliament which could not be covered by the existing standing orders. You understand? The standing orders which dictated that things should be done according to majority, the formula of majority versus minority and so on. So what needed to be done was to amend the standing orders to reflect the reality of parliament at the time. And then we chose the lazy option that no matter what, we should have a majority and we should have a minority. So now, instead of caucus, we're using words like group and so on. What is this? But that's what we did. And emboldened them. So that at the point when they even have, I think, 87 seats or so, they can call themselves super minority and mighty minority. Very soon, I'm sure they'll be calling themselves supersonic minority. What is this? Incredible. You understand? And is there any wonder why they react so very badly when they are called the micro minority? You know this lady who had an altercation with Annoh, Dompreh and so on. I'm sitting back and I'm wondering, what's the basis of that? All the woman did was to refer to them as micro minority, and tempers were flared. Are you not a micro minority? You are! You see, they themselves oftentimes refer to the period when they had just a little over 60 seats in parliament, and how they quickly came back, and so on, and ultimately won elections in 2000. But my brother, My sister, look at the caliber of members of parliament at the time. You're talking about J.H. Mensah. You understand? Look at the caliber of members of parliament. Look at the conduct of debates. They were not disruptive. They were engaged in they had constructive engagement and so on, and won the respect and admiration of the people of Ghana. Today's parliament, this micro minority, how is it endearing itself to the population? And what are the prospects that this micro minority can at some point endear itself to the population? And no wonder, everywhere you go, every station you listen to and so on, people are hungering for the era of Che Mensah Bonsu. Everywhere you go, within the New Patriotic Party, outside the New Patriotic Party, and everybody say, well, if Che Mensah Bonsu was there, this is not what we'll be seeing. That's an indication of a public perception that standards are falling, that there is massive deterioration and so on. Something is very strange. This idea of setting up a committee to investigate what had happened and so on went before the plenary session of Parliament. A majority was there, the independents were there, the micro minority was there. They raised no objection. The next day when the committee begins work, they said, we don't agree, we are boycotting. What is this? No consistency. No consistency whatsoever. And it's very deeply worrying. You understand? Now, for me, the speaker had to act immediately when these matters unfolded. I mean, every and any responsible speaker needed to do something to assuage public feelings, to give the public the confidence that something will be done to rectify the situation, to restore dignity to Parliament and so on. So I was not surprised at all that the speaker immediately suspended a number of people and took some measures and so on. It was important to do something to assuage the anger of the population. I am not the custodian of parliamentary rules and regulations, okay? So I'm not even going to challenge the claim that some of the things that he did may have been an offense to the rules of Parliament. I'm not going to challenge that, be that as it may. But the speaker in that moment had to do something. After having announced those measures, it was important for the parliamentary leadership, if they found something wrong with that, to sit together, to think with the speaker, and to do the right things which will restore public confidence in Parliament, which will restore some dignity to Parliament and so on. What we saw is shocking. I mean, first of all, you had the minority leader apologize profusely to the speaker, to Parliament itself, and to the people of Ghana, and to admit that what happened was completely embarrassing and so on. And then the next moment, he's justifying what happened. I mean, look, there's a lot of work to be done. Lots and lots of work to be done. If you take the cocoa sector alone, it's frightening. I mean, I've heard statements that cocoa is the mainstay of the economy. I reject that, but that's said by economists and so on. So we can live with that. Last year, cocoa production fell by more than 50%. Galamsey is destroying our cocoa farms like nothing. Okay? The new Minister for Agriculture has disclosed that this year, Cocoa Marketing Board will have to pay a debt of more than, 53 billion cedis? Thereabout. That is not the total level of indebtedness of Cocoa Board. That's how much money we have to pay this year alone. I know people who have been to university, graduated from the universities and so on, who are working. And Master, their take-home pay is less than 2,000 cedis a month. That's a national catastrophe. I travel around this country, I see the state of the roads. Frightening. It will cause accidents, it will affect the lifespan of our vehicles, and so on. I mean, we heard stories of the starvation in secondary schools. The fact that we are feeding secondary school students with unwholesome meals and so on. You know, you talk about women, pregnant women, and the conditions under which they give birth. Master, everywhere you turn, we are facing disaster. This imposes a responsibility and duty on our parliament, especially the majority side. Now, if they're going to dance around in circles to please the micro minority and not get things done, it's up to them. The other day, I was talking to a member of parliament, and a member of parliament from Wali. I was actually talking to him on television. And I was saying that there have been many instances where parliament has struggled with having a quorum. And that there were a number of instances where if the micro minority had withdrawn, parliamentary business could not be carried out. That's a problem.
It happened yesterday.
That's a huge problem. We vote for 100, more than 180 of you, and you don't go to work? Such that the business of parliament is dependent on the micro minority. My goodness, what are you doing there? That's the problem. The majority must be responsible, it must work. And one of the duties that the majority must do is to show their faces inside parliament. What is so important for them that they don't go to parliament? So that yesterday, parliament had to adjourn because of the question of quorum. 180 something of you? What's wrong with you? Master, we better take this country serious. Because the masses of our people take their country very seriously. And they believe that it is possible to change their destiny. For now, they've replaced that destiny in the hands of a political party. If that political party is not able to protect their interests, to work for their interests, to uplift their standard of living and so on, they will take it from that political party. And who says that we have a duty, we have a responsibility to maintain this bourgeois democratic order? Who says that? Who says that is given? Who says that there are no other forms of government apart from this arrangement we have today? You sit there and be playing. Well, I think that it's important to always state the fundamental when you're discussing education. Now, education, simply put, is the means by which or through which the current generation transfers knowledge and skills to the next generation. And if you look at education from this perspective, it becomes so very important for our survival. You understand? Because you're talking about skills, you're talking about knowledge and so on. Very essential for our survival. Now, the setting up of a brainstorming mechanism on education is part of the promises that the NDC made in the 2024 campaign. And all of us would insist that the NDC keeps its promise. It does appear that this promise will be kept. And if this promise is going to be kept, my advice to the new Minister of Education is to shut up for now. Shut up. Yes, we haven't had the consultation. We haven't had the debate. And measures are being announced in such a manner as to confuse the population. This is not a teacher training allowance. Everybody interprets it in a different way because it was so poorly communicated. Yes, sir. For some, it means that teacher training allowance are going to be cancelled. For some, it means that it's not going to be cancelled, and so confusion. Why? So let's have the forum. Let the forum make the recommendations that it ought to make. Let government look at those recommendations and come up with a blueprint. We've carried on the debate about education in this country to the extent that today many people think that free education is the invention of the New Patriotic Party. It is not. But it's the manner in which we've carried out this conversation. You read the first 5-year development plan that the Nkrumah government introduced. You read the 7-year development plan. Free education is the hallmark of the National Development Plan, has always been. Indeed, it took the Busia government to reverse it. I recall, I was a kid then, I think I was in secondary school from 1 or so. When this lecturer at the University of Ghana, Ebo Hatchful, confronted Busia on the campus of the Legon campus over the Busia regime's plans to reverse free education and the ostentation of the then government and so on. Now, when you mention free education, it's as if it's the invention of the New Patriotic Party and Annoh. You know, something is wrong. Even in recent times, the first political party that I remember after 1992 insisting on free education in its manifesto was the Convention People's Party. It was not the New Patriotic Party. The first political party that actually costed free education, costed it, showed how it was going to generate the resources and so on, was Dr. Indom's PPP.
Yeah, I recall that.
You understand? The first political party that actually started implementing free education is the National Democratic Congress, when it came with the progressive approach and so on. And yet, somehow, we've allowed this discussion and debate to be conducted in such a manner as to make it look like this is the invention of Nana Akufo-Addo and the New Patriotic Party. Look, I think we should go beyond scoring party political points and begin to look at education for what it is. A mechanism, an instrument which is so vital for the survival of the human race, not just Ghana, the whole human race. Our survival depends on education. It depends on the acquisition of skills. It depends on the interpretation and exploitation of knowledge to deal with the hydra-headed problems that confront mankind. And education is so very vital that we need to take it seriously. And therefore we need to take this forum seriously. And therefore, promises which were made by political parties and so on also need to be kept. Finish.
Oh, thank you.
That we managed to organize this night of tribunes, you know, in memory of Dr. David Kwesi. and just the caliber of people who turned out, from all walks of life, and all of them related their experiences, with him. Some from his secondary school days, some from the days in London when he was doing his master's and PhD. Some related his life, on the farms, the university farms, where he was a lecturer and so on. And then some spoke about his political activity and so on. And in all of this, one thing was clear. He was a huge intellectual and extremely modest. I mean, I still can't put together, the different parts of his life. Percy was unbending. Completely unbending. We are going to have a meeting to discuss a problem. Percy comes to the meeting with his ideas already formulated. No matter what you say, Percy still leaves the meeting with his ideas, completely unbending. Now, to be that unbending and also to strike everybody as being modest is a skill that I haven't seen in any other human being.
Sure.
Because it takes a certain level of arrogance to be unbending. Now, Percy has no arrogance, and yet he's unbending. And I never saw him angry.
Yeah.
In all the time that I knew Percy, maybe over a period of about 40 years or more, never for once saw him angry. He could not be provoked. Percy was a very extraordinary human being. Very extraordinary. The most outstanding thing about him is his modesty, his intellectual capacity, and of course, his friend Chuchufoku described in a way that I cannot say on television. You were there, completely unyielding, completely unbending, and yet, you don't find him as being arrogant and so on. He made us, all of us who worked with him, who associated with him, he made us better socialists. You understand? Because of his unyielding nature, you always had to return to principle. And that was the role that he played. And it's a pity that he passed out in the very bizarre circumstances under which he passed away. We can only wish the family, extend our condolences to the family, and when the time comes, I'm told that the funeral rites will be on the 28th and 29th of March.
Okay.
When the time comes, we will all be there, to give the red salute to a comrade who lived his life as a comrade and contributed so much to uplifting, to raising high the banner of socialism in Ghana.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This Ambassador Sampiali says, we celebrate the life of and legacy of David Percy, a deep thinker and consummate socialist. Your tireless commitment to social justice and equality has left a lasting impact on countless lives. As a pillar to the Alaji and Alaji program, your dedication and influence will be deeply missed. Rest in peace, David Percy. Your legacy will continue to inspire and motivate others to strive for a more just and equitable society.
I'm going to make a confession. And every time I was coming on Alaji and Alaji and I heard that Percy was on the panel, I was so happy.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he made me look so modest. Because he would take the extreme position, you understand, and make me look good. So I was always happy to be on the same panel with him because he said all the things that others can and make you sound very, correct.
Yeah, quite interesting.
In a very calm manner.
Very calm.
Yeah.
And he always took everybody by surprise with the way he comes in. So you are having a conversation and Percy starts and everybody is wondering, you get shocked.
Parliamentary.